And so he would line up, they would line up, Ibn Mas'ud is the Imam, and Khalid and other strong warriors are now following a thin, small man. Because in terms of the Quran, he's a giant. See, it's operational unity.
No, I'm not worried at all. I rely on God, Allah.
The next point is what I would call a type of unity. And this is a type of unity, where we accept the differences between ourselves. Learn to accept differences. In other words, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, they were different, but they were together. I would call it operational unity. What is operate? Now, this is now, the bread, the meat and breads. This is the structure. What is operational unity? Operational unity is to be able to work with somebody who is slightly different than you, but you're part of the same group. In other words, if you look at how Muslims practice Islam, they focus on different aspects. Some focus on prayer, some focus on study, some focus on tabligh, they like to go out and give messages. Some focus on dhikrullah, some focus on calling to the good and forbidding evil. There's so many different ways, but how do you work together? I'll give you an example. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, his companions were different types of people. And for instance, Khalid ibn al-Walid, right? He was a tall warrior. And but he didn't memorize much Quran because he accepted Islam late. So when the companions were, together and it's time for prayer, and they look around, if they saw Khalid, they look for somebody else. Because he only knows Nas and Falaq, and a few, different small chapters. Then they would look and they'd find somebody like Abdullahi ibn Mas'ud, radiallahu anhu. He's a thin Yemeni man, okay? But he's the master of the Quran. And so he would line up, they would line up, Ibn Mas'ud is the Imam, and Khalid and other strong warriors are now following a thin, small man. Because in terms of the Quran, he's a giant. See, it's operational unity. But after the prayer is over, when the enemies of Allah came on the scene, everybody would say, where's Khalid? Put him in the front. Now Khalid is in the front because he's the one to lead you against danger. You see, so they recognize the strength and weaknesses of each other. And I have said this in gatherings, and some people looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, and I'm being straightforward. One time I was in the Jami Mosque. I was the Imam of the Jami Mosque for a while when there was only 2 masjids in Toronto. And we had the largest, gathering maybe in the whole country. And I was going in between all the groups and all the nationalities. And because I'm none of the nationalities, I'm none of the groups, people accepted me. And I saw the division, petty division. And I stood up one day and I said, I have to make it clear. Abu Hanifa was not a Pakistani. And people said, whoa, like what's wrong with him? Something's wrong with his mind. He was an Arab. Then I said, Imam Shafi'i was not a Somali. He was an Arab. Because we wear our madhab like a national identity. Not understanding that the Imams were students and teachers of each other. So this is operational unity, right? Being able to accept differences and still work together.
Do I feel that the New York police are providing enough protection, or do I have to have protection of my own? I look for protection from Allah.